So let's see the next game. In this one, Anderssen's opponent is Dufresne, and this game is called and known as the Evergreen game, and also as e4, e5, but now not the king's gambit, but the evens gambit with the b4. Bishop takes b4, c3, bishop a5, d4, e takes d4, short castle. So everything is normal up to this moment, and here I believe an extremely remarkable move came from the black player. So we are talking about 1852, so that was the year this game was played in, and in those times I would expect to play something like d takes on c3 or developing the knight on g8 quickly somewhere, but actually black made a very smart move in my opinion, d3. So basically in this way he is making it more difficult for the b1 knight to develop to c3, and in case white would recapture this pawn, so that's what those arrows mean here. So if queen takes d3 or bishop takes d3 would have been played here, then white's attack on the f7 square, which is one of the key ideas of the evens gambit, is delayed. So it's a very remarkable move in my opinion for those times. So queen b3 was played here, queen f6, e5, and queen g6. And objectively speaking, I believe Anderssen made an inaccurate move in this position. He played rook to e1. So of course he is dreaming about opening up the center and the e-file somehow for the black king, but it's really not easy. So probably the best move was to play rook to d1, and in case of knight e7, just to take back this pawn on d3 with a complicated position. So black is still a pawn up and only one move away from short castles, so his position must be fine, but white also has compensation here. So instead rook e1, but knight g7, already blocking this file, bishop a3. And as I said, I was really impressed by black's play up to this moment, but here some unnecessary things were coming. It was simply possible to short castle here. I cannot see anything wrong. White plays knight bd2, let's say, and black plays d6. Black is 2 pawns up for the moment. Maybe he will lose d3 at some moment. It is also completely unclear, by the way, how and in which way. But this position is just completely good. He finished development, and bishop is coming out in the next move, and black has a clear advantage in my opinion. But okay, these were the romantic times, and black was 2 pawns up at this moment, so he decided, okay, let's give back one and to speed up development. But as I showed, there was no need to speed up anything because short castle was already available. So b5 was played, queen takes b5, rook b8, queen a4, and bishop b6. So basically what black, so to say, managed to speed up is to bring the rook to the b file, where it was just blocked by the bishop at this moment. So this strategy is at the very least questionable to me. Knight bd2 was played. Again, nowadays probably a strong player would just play queen d1, regain the d3 pawn, and with material equality, thanks to the e5 pawn, it would be just a very pleasant advantage for the white player. Knight bd2, bishop b7. So something stopped black from castling in this game. I don't know exactly what, because it was for quite a few moves in a row clearly the best move. So it's a little bit strange. So now knight e4. So here Anderssen wants to play bishop takes d3 and then give a discover check and win the black queen. Queen f5 was played. It was, I don't know, it was some kind of a blunder, I believe. It again, short castle there is nothing really against short castle in this position, so any other move is kind of hard to explain. So queen f5, bishop takes d3, and that's why it's hard to explain queen f5, because now the queen has to move again. So now there is no short castle because of knight f6. So queen h5 check, sorry, queen h5 was played, and Anderssen obviously replied with knight f6 check. So now finally he has the option to open the e file. Having said that, the objectively best way to play was knight to g3, queen h6, and just to play rook a d1. So the material is equal, and black's queen is completely misplaced. For example, now I believe short castle would just run still into bishop c1, and the queen doesn't really have a good square. If it goes to e6, then it is exposed to moves like knight to g5, or the more forcing bishop takes h7. And if the king recaptures, then knight g5 is just picking up the queen. So this was the simple way to achieve a decisive advantage for white, but Anderssen played knight f6, which, I mean, it should work. I mean, there is the feeling it just should work. But black has an amazing defense, which could have saved the game for Dufresne. So gf6 is of course a must, ef6. And now, thanks to that strong bishop on b7, rook g8 was played in the game, and it actually provides enough counterplay for black to survive. Anderssen played rook a to d1, bringing a new piece into the game. And queen takes f3 was played, and that's already the losing mistake. I mean, extremely natural move, and it's very hard to see the refutation of it, but it's just losing. And the amazing move which saves the game for black was bishop to d4. And the idea of this move is to block the d file. And we will see in the game why it was so crucial. So now white takes the piece, queen takes f3, bishop e4, protecting g2, rook has to take on g2, king h1, and here black has rook takes h2, king h2, queen f2, king h1, queen h4, and the game is ending with a perpetual check. So that was the amazing defense for black. Here, instead queen takes f3 was played, so threats from g2 and f2 are coming, leading to checkmate. So it means that it doesn't white doesn't really have time to waste much time. So probably it means that we have to go by checks at every turn. Rook takes e7 check. Black took with the knight in the game. Other possibility was to go king d8, and here rook takes d7. Again, we have to give this check, and it's working. So in case of king takes d7, we give a bishop f5 double check. So that's very important that it's a double check. So bishop on f5 and rook on d1 is giving a check. King e8, bishop to d7, king to d8, bishop to c6 check. King has to go to c8, bishop d7, king d8, and bishop e7. Checkmate would have finished this variation. So king c8 is the main line, and here comes an absolutely brilliant move. I believe this is the nicest variation that could have happened. Rook to d8. And no matter how black captures this piece, it's just completely lost. I mean, or checkmate. So for example, if the rook goes away from the g file, we just take on f3 with bishop f5 to follow in the next move, and that's just simply game over. If the king takes on d8, then we play bishop to e2, knight d4, and again we pick up the queen. Bishop takes f3. White can just play g3 here, bishop d1, queen d1. So we will reach a position where white has a queen and a couple of pawns for the two rooks, but in such positions the decisive factor, what is stronger, the queen or the two rooks, is decided by the king's safety. And black's king is basically, not only it's not safe, it's impossible to put it on any square where it could be even reasonably safe. So white's possession is just crushing. See it, rook d8, and again, the most beautiful variation, I believe, happens after knight takes d8. Again, it's just checkmate on g2, so we have to give a check with the white pieces, and if we give bishop f5, then the queen takes f5, we just lose because queen d7 is not a mate anymore. So after knight takes d8, the move is queen to d7. Has to be taken, and then bishop f5, again double check, and wherever direction the king goes, bishop d7 is a checkmate. So king e8, bishop d7 is a mate, and king to c6, bishop d7 is also a picturesque checkmate. So that was the main tactical theme of this game. Black took on e7, and again he got this queen takes d7 check, king takes d7, and bishop to f5, again double check. So the black queen doesn't have time to take on d1. King has only one. I mean, again, this e8 and c6 are the two possibilities. If king c6, then bishop d7 is just a mate. And king e8 was played in the game, bishop d7 check, and king d8 or king f8 doesn't really matter, only that king d8 also gives possibility for f e7 mate, but